right. Hey, everybody. How you guys
Oh,
doing tonight? Hey, Steve.
Hi.
Hey, Monet.
y'all confused.
Hey, sis.
Man, I'm excited about tonight's conversation. We actually had a real conversation that was so real and so good that we were like, we should go live about this. I think this is a really important conversation. I think that there's a realization, I think more than ever, and I don't know if it's just that I'm in real estate, but it just seems like a lot of people are being awakened to the fact that they need to be in real estate. Maybe more to me than even 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Do y'all feel like that too?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it seemed like, and I was like, I don't know if, because when you in something, then it seemed like maybe a lot of people doing it, but it definitely seems like people are being awakened. There's a lot of knowledge on social, just sharing different, opportunities in real estate and stuff like that. And, they're real teachers in any asset class, and then they're fake teachers. And I think a lot of it comes down to, integrity, character, and hopefully wanting to hook up with people. I hope, you think you want some people, if I come into your program, that you really want to see me win and you just don't see me as a price tag. But the reality is, that's not necessarily the case. I think we're seeing both sides of the spectrum, which is why I started a Certify, which is a real estate coaching program for people to be able to come in and get real mentorship. So, Stacey, I want to start with you because we've been rocking for a minute. You're in the Millionaires Club. I'm so proud of some of the moves that you've made. And I know you and Monet right now are actually kind of in a deal together. I guess just from your experience authentically and honestly, what are you kind of seeing in terms of, because I know you wanted to get into real estate, you're like, I'm ready to go, and then you hooked up with one program. What's been kind of your experience? I want people to know to kind of what to watch out for, I guess.
Right. So I think it's important to understand and know what you're expecting when you partner with whether it's a specific individual or a group, right? Because if you are looking to work with the mindset that you're going to be getting a certain level of support, right? A certain level of knowledge from the individual or the group that you are aligned with. You want to know exactly what you're looking to obtain from the get go, right? And make sure that that's clear. I think for my particular situation, I came into an environment with an individual where I kind of expected that there was going to be a lot of, just providing explanation, giving insight as to what the steps are going to be throughout the process on this real estate deal that I'm involved with, and that hasn't been the case. It's kind of been more like, decisions are being made, but we're not necessarily getting a lot of the back behind the scenes type information that we need to understand and fully comprehend, like, okay, this is how this works, right? If you're wanting to truly understand the full picture of what it means to be an investor, you want to know the pitfalls, you want to know
Right.
what work, what's not going to work, right? And so, it's really key for anybody that's going into becoming an investor that you get insight and understanding about, you know not only the things that can be positive as you're going through the process, but making sure that you understand that certain things are going to come up, right? Certain challenges are going to be there, and really be in a position to be able to understand what needs to be done to address those particular challenges or roadblocks that may come up. So, that hasn't been, you know, an experience that I've had so far. And, that's why it's so important to make sure that you're aligned with the right environment, because that's so key in your developing as an investor, right? And being successful as you go through that journey.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think, I don't know, we were talking about that. I don't know, sometimes if the mentor is trying to protect the person from, the challenges that come up with investing, but that's all a part of it. You know what I'm saying? And so one of the things, which is why I started the one-on-one coaching, because the course I teach is great and I love the course, but honestly, I think that one-on-one holding your hand through every step of the way, because it's going to be stuff to come up, whether God forbid somebody might try to break into the property or maybe successfully break into the property, contractors might get into it. I mean, it's all kinds of different things that can come when you're in the middle of that project. And if you're trying to protect that person from knowing what's really happening, does that really give them an opportunity to grow for real, for real? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I don't try to shield my investors. I'm like, I get them saying, hey, what did the contractor tell you? Hey, what happened when you went to pick up that material, or you recommended that material, or whatever? Like, let's get in the weeds together. Let it be a real partnership where they can really grow from it. Because ideally, we're dealing with one door, but eventually we want to go to 5 doors and then 10 doors. So Monet, what would you kind of say, about that, sis? Because I know you're killing it in the accounting space. I'm really proud of what you're doing as an accountant. I know it's a lot of new laws out there, and we'll get to that on another conversation, but I really want to get in the weeds with the real estate part, because even you as an accountant, you said, sis, there's a lot of people coming to me right now talking about they want to get invested in real estate. And, I want to talk to you about partnering, because what are some of the things that you're seeing? And again, not to say that, other people that are teaching real estate are not phenomenal, because I know some other people that are teaching real estate that I have a lot of love for.
Right.
But there's some that's like, What's up, Curtis? Okay, but go ahead.
So the main thing, I think transparency is key. That's what happens. A lot of programs are just being thrown together, and then people don't know what they're getting, and you expecting a real estate professional to be able to walk you through the whole process, and then that's not the case. Almost like you said, sometimes they'll try to protect you because they've done it so long, and when they see a pitfall, the first thing they do is jump in and try to protect, but then your students are not learning anything. And then they feel almost like disrespected because you're making decisions without them, and that's not how it goes. Like you got to look at your student almost like a teammate, really, because they're investing their time and their knowledge, and then they're trusting you almost with their life. Like, money is tight right now. So if you trust somebody enough to join their program or to allow them to teach you something, then you got to have that respect for them and make sure that you're giving them everything that they came to you for, because it's so much to learn out here with real estate. Like, I've been doing this for maybe about 15 years now. And you remember, you and I even took a real estate investing class together where we were buying tax liens and stuff like that. But literally, I've lost maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in the real estate game because I jumped in without a mentor. And then when I finally got involved with a mentor, I started making hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's a big difference between jumping out here, thinking you know what you're doing, and then losing money when you have somebody that now has a legitimate program and respects you as a partner and giving you the tools you need to be successful as a real estate investor, because real estate is not for the faint of heart.
Very bad. It is not for the faint of heart. I tell people real estate is not hard, but it's not easy. And
It's
so
not.
when you start talking about, I'm about to get into real estate. Like, my first question is going to be, I highly recommend that you get a mentor. The amount of money that you're going to spend is going to save you so much money. It's going to save you so much time. And it's also going to put you in a position to be able to maximize on your profit, right? Because all deals are not created equal. So you're absolutely right. So, say, so you decided like, hey, you know what? Jules starting this real estate coaching program, and we've worked together on other ventures. What made you say, okay, I'm definitely connecting with what Jewel is doing with the Setify, and what so far have you kind of seen is the difference? Why are you like, okay, yeah, this is the way that this needs to look?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is getting all of those details about the process itself, right? And having the ability to be handheld. So for me, being in the real estate space, it's a new process for me.
Yeah.
And so, I tend to be a little bit aggressive, but what I needed was to be able to have the ability to throw questions out and have them be answered. Being in an environment where I have the ability to network and meet other people that can give me insight into how I can go about doing things a little bit more efficient. So, like, one thing that I really appreciate with you, Dr. Jewel, is, even a few weeks ago, you gave me the opportunity to meet a resource that was able to kind of give me some tips on what I could do to better strengthen my credit, right?
Yeah.
So having access to you kind of opened the door for me to be able to see such a bigger array of things that I should be conscious about. And your transparency and showing us the process, like actually going into homes, doing a walkthrough of what you look at when you're looking at properties, like that's important.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've gone into houses and I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed because I'm not sure what I'm looking for. I'm not sure what to to say, okay, this looks like I could potentially like open the space up. Like I wouldn't have thought about those types of ideas or things if I wasn't in a position where I was actually, getting those types of insights from the certified group. So
Yeah.
I think that's key. That's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's good. I think it is important. And I think too, I want to say this to people that are watching right now. Of course, everybody wants to jump into real estate and make 100,000 or make 50,000, but sometimes you might actually do a deal and you might just come out making 5,000. You might come out making 10. You wanted to make 15, but you have to end up going over budget. These are things that I make sure that, my students know, like pad that budget at least $10,000, and don't be mad if you just break even. You know what I mean? The first time or even the second time or in any deal, right? And I think that's common. I was talking to Kim Kiyosaki. She was saying it's crazy because people come into real estate with like these illusions of grandeur, but you got to make sure you come into real estate being sober. Yes, you can make tons of money, but you also got to understand there may be some deals where you just break even, but you say, okay, next time I'm smarter and let me look for a bigger ARV, because an ARV is just after repair value, how much you can get for the property. But also understand sometimes you do have to end up spending more. Sometimes things are revealed that you didn't know until you got into it, even with the inspection. So you just kind of have to be sober-minded and think long-term. Don't just think I'm going to do this one property and be done, but really think long-term and get with a community of people where you literally can hear everything. I'll say this and then Monet, I want to bring you in, but I hosted a real estate investment meeting a couple of weeks ago in the city of Detroit downtown. And there was some big, like investors there who are killing it. And every person there said, I have never, ever done a deal where I didn't end up going over budget. I mean, it's just a part of it. So you kind of have to factor that in. And I would rather tell people that, ahead of time than giving them, too much of a rosy picture to only find out, oh, that wasn't a part of it. Contractor go in and say, okay, this will be 15 to rehab. Well, that didn't include the chandeliers and the lights. It didn't include the cabinets. It didn't include the doorknobs. It didn't include, the appliances, because if you want to flip it, you need a refrigerator, you need a stove, so there are a lot of different things that you're going to learn when you get the mentorship. And I really want to encourage you guys to go ahead and comment doors to connect to our coaching program. I think you'll really love it. The other thing that I love what we've been able to create here at Certify is, partners like my really good girlfriend, Monet, who's on here. This girl owns several accounting firms, bi-coastal. She is killing the game. And one thing I love about Monet is that she makes sure that she stays up to date on making sure that we are compliant as investors, because things are changing. Things at banks are changing. Things at, credit is changing. How you file your taxes is changing. Corporations are changing. I mean, there are a lot of changes that are happening. And so you got to make sure when you're an investor that you're with an accountant that really understands all those changes so that you can keep yourself compliant and make sure that your tax liability stays low, because ignorance can end up costing you a lot of money. And she was talking to me and just going on and on about some of the things. So this is some of the things that you're going to get when you come into the Accetify community. So Monet, tell them just a little bit, girl, about when you start talking about you want to invest in real estate, you got to make sure you got an accountant that knows what the heck is going on, because there's a lot of changes happening right now.
Right. There's definitely a lot of changes going on. Actually, for the first time in over 20 years, the government has passed a new law. It's the Corporate Transparency Act, which is like the money laundering new law in 2021, because during COVID, so many people were hurting financially that everybody was doing everything to make money. You got attorneys, you got so many people that's going to prison now because they was committing so many crimes financially because people were trying to survive, and that's no excuse, but like, it's almost like survival of the fittest out here. So they created this new law, the Corporate Transparency Act. And what this is a money laundering law, and it's called the Beneficial Ownership Information. And what that is now, the government want to know who owns what, like who all has a business. So if you have a LLC, a S Corp, a C Corp, any type of business, you now have to report FinCEN all your information, from your date of birth, your name, your address, no PO box address, your home address, and then your ownership information. And see, FinCEN is the Department of Treasury Financial Crime Enforcement Network. So they want to know everything about you. And the amazing part about it, this information is going to be reported to Homeland Security. It's going to be reported to the U.S. Treasury. It's going to be reported to banking institutes. It's going to be reported to foreign entities. So if you have a business and you're doing business, if you set your company up outside the USA, but you're still doing business in the United States, this information has to be reported to these different agencies. So this is really, really serious, because the issue is going to be, a lot of people say they have businesses, but they're not structured and set up properly. But the government want to know what's going on, because a lot of money laundering has been done, a lot of tax fraud has been done, a lot of terrorism, financial problems have been done. So they are monitoring what's really going on and how they're going to get everybody, because people are like, well, I don't have to report this, I don't have to report this. If you're not registered in the FinCEN system and you start a business now, you can't even get a business bank account. That's how they're going to be able to control this. You cannot get a business bank account if you're not registered in FinCEN, because you have not acknowledged to the government that you are a real business. So that's how serious this is. And then even more so, if you currently have a business in 2020, prior to 2024, you have until January the 1st, 2025 to go ahead and get registered. But if you start a business now, after January the 1st, 2024, you have 90 days to report this to FinCEN. And if you don't, it is a $500 a day fine, up to $10,000 or 2 years in prison. That's how serious the government is about finding out what's going on with these different businesses. That's deep.
So people can't just jump in without having the knowledge, because it could really end up costing them in a very, very, very bad way.
You got to be connected. You got to be educated. That's what Stacey said, what she loved about Accetify. You get access to resources and a network and connections. Like, it's all about the connections, seriously, and who you know.
Yeah. Because investing even last year versus this year, investing 2 years ago versus now is different. Everything keeps changing. I mean, I'm watching the changes with the credit. I literally got a call about an hour ago. This guy was like, oh my gosh, you got to meet this guy. This guy is killing it. He getting people $500,000, $1 million. All they got to do is have this credit score. Can you be in Atlanta to do a meeting? I'm not going to come because the weather is crazy, but I was like, okay, let's schedule a Zoom. But everything is about information. Everything is about, like you said, networking, having that information. And I really want to encourage you guys, because I don't want you to stay away from it because of the pitfalls. I want you just to be knowledgeable that, yes, I can become a real estate investor. Yes, I can create a passive income that supersedes my lifestyle, that pays all my bills. Come on, somebody. That's where you need to be. But I just got to be knowledgeable in how I do it and not get stuck in what I did last year or 2 years ago. Let me make sure all my stuff is compliant. Let me make sure I'm buying, in the right neighborhoods, that I got the right contractors, that I got a title company that I can trust and I can get to. And I think that's what it's all about. I think we're in a time now, kind of like what you said, Stacey. I'm not trying to send you a message. I mean, I'm okay with email, and I'm okay with, sending an email or chat. But sometimes if I'm in a deal that I've spent thousands of dollars to get in and could potentially make thousands of dollars, or maybe not, I'm gonna need to talk to somebody. That's just me. I need to pick up the phone. How y'all feel about that?
So I want to share a situation that I have with a friend of mine that's been wanting to step into the real estate space for some time. And because she has not leveraged a group or community like Accetify, she's been trying to figure things out on her own. And what ultimately has happened is she second guesses herself so much and over analyzes the situation so much that she has yet to make a move. And so, fast forward 10 years, and she's just so upset with herself because there were so many opportunities that came her way. But because she was unsure, she didn't have the emotional support that she was looking for. She didn't have the network. She had so many questions. And at the end of the day, she ended up talking herself out of moving forward and, just taking those deals. And so now she's kicking herself because she's, a lot of time has passed, right? And now she's like, I could have been so much further ahead. But I encourage her, and I'm letting her know it's so important to make sure that you're connected with the right team and the right community, right? It's not even just about having that knowledge and having that insight and having, the connection to the individuals that are in that group that is going to provide that experience. It's the networking, it's the continuous learning, it's the emotional support, it's the guidance on strategy. Like, understanding, do you want to buy and hold, or do you want to buy and, do flips? Like, if you're not sure about it, you have that community that you can leverage and understand like where you want to really be. So for me, it's a no-brainer, because I see how much value I'm able to get by having the partnership and the team that you can leverage and get information and insight on. But yeah, that came to mind just now when I was thinking about it. Like, my girlfriend is still sitting on the sidelines because she has not been able to, take that next step because she doesn't have that community to be able to leverage and, give her encouragement and be able to answer some of those just key questions that she has throughout the process.
Being able to ask the key questions is really important. And that's what I love about our community. And we have people growing in the community and coming into the community every day that I'm a student. Every day I'm just blown away. I was talking to Monet and I'm like, I'm blown away. I'm listening to you, Stacey. I'm blown away because we're stronger together, like hands down, like make no mistake about it. We're going to be stronger together. I don't have to know everything about accounting. You know what I mean? Because I already know I can call Monet, right? I don't have to know everything about an experience, Stacey, that maybe you had, because there's you. And that's why I really want to encourage you all that are listening, join the community, because you're going to have access to all the Stacey's and the Monets of the world. And so we have a couple main packages. We have a $59 packet. That $59 packet is where I get on once a month and we get into the weeds of real estate and investing. It's going to help you stay accountable. It's going to make sure that you're setting goals. It's going to make sure that you are progressively moving toward your goal, which everybody's goal, honestly, should to get to the point where you have enough doors where it more than pays for your lifestyle. It's time to get your money working for you and you stop making for your money. And the reality is profit always follows mastery. So anytime you want to become really good at something, you got to put yourself in the line of fire. You see what I'm saying? You got to get yourself around people that are going to be saying the right thing. So it's a trigger. It's a reminder. Oh yeah, I need to talk to Monet about my taxes. Oh yeah, I need to check on my entities and make sure that's right. Oh yeah, I need to go look at that buy and flip. Oh yeah, I need to call my contractor, right? Oh yeah, let me check with the title company and see when we're closing. Like you got to keep yourself where you're around a lot of stimulation towards the advancement of your wealth. And that's what the community does. And then the second package we have is the 5K package. And we have funding for you for that. But you just got to have a credit score of over 620 so that we can get you funded with no problem. And then we will help you find your off-market property. We'll help you find the contractors. Then we'll help you, fix up the property. Then we'll help you get the property put back on the market. So an agent that's aggressive, not an agent that's just sitting behind a computer desk, an agent that's going to actually get that property sold. Because the last thing is you want is you got this beautiful property, you didn't do all this work, and then you pull some random person that you saw on social media to sell a property in the hood for 150,000, but you go and get an agent that's $1 million agent. They probably not gonna be able to sell your property. That's not who you need. So you got to understand, am I in A class, B class, C class, or D class properties? And we teach all those kind of things. Most of the money is made in C and D because people always moving down, but not necessarily moving up, right? Especially during times of recession. So you're gonna be in a community where there are a lot of pivots and changes and goal settings where you can make sure that you're progressively and intentionally growing. It's January. This is time to make the move. So what's the first thing, Monet, somebody reach out to you, they're in the community. What's the first thing that you're having them look at?
First thing I'm having them to look at is their goal. It's tax season, and we've been in tax season. Tax season started January the 2nd. The IRS doesn't start accepting the tax returns until the 29th. Me and my team have serviced over 200 clients already before the IRS has started even taking returns. And the reason why is because this is the year where everybody is trying to get their financials in order, and everybody has these big goals, and people want to purchase real estate, and people want to, purchase apartments and all these different things. But you got to understand your foundation. So the first thing I tell them to do is know what your goal is. What do you want to do this year? Because entrepreneurs don't realize our income is stated. Like, we tell the IRS how much money we make because they trust us as big business owners, right? So when you sit down and you look at your income, are you wanting to buy, investment property this year? Are you wanting to buy your own personal home this year? Is your goal to get a refund this year and maybe pay down some debt? So everybody's desire and goals are different. So you got to sit down and do a financial need analysis and realize what your goal is, and be realistic and see, can you meet that goal? And if you can't, you got to be a part of a community like this to get the resources to meet this goal. So the first thing I tell everybody to do is just sit down, do a financial needs analysis, do a consultation. Let's see where you want to be and where you are so you can meet it and bring it all together.
That's good, girl. So first, assessing where you are, from an accounting standpoint. And then when you join the certified community, we're going to also do an assessment of kind of where you are, especially if you do the one-on-one. I want to know, what have you done? Have you done any investing before? Is this your first time investing? What's your credit score? What's your credit availability, right? Do you have any hard inquiries? We're going to really start to take a deep dive of where you are, but it is important to be in the community because, again, your goal might be one door, but you get around certain people and you're like, wait a minute, nah, why would I just do one? I'll start at one. But I want to go to 5. I want to go to 10. I want to go to 50. I want to go to 100. You start hearing these other stories of people achieving these things. Not that everything was perfect, because I don't know any investor that has a perfect story. So you start to get the mental toughness and the emotional toughness, right? I think you told me you had a property that we bought together. Tell me about that. I think, is that the one we bought together?
6 years ago, we were buying property at the courthouse steps. And I didn't know anything about real estate investing at the time, because being a real estate agent and a real estate investor are two different animals, right? And so we purchased this property at the courthouse steps, knew nothing about the HOAs. When I say you got to be in a group like this to understand every aspect of it. So I knew nothing about the HOA. So again, the purpose of me buying this property was to rehab it and rent it out. Well, the HOA had restrictions on there where you could not rent the property out. So now that I've rehabbed this property and put a tenant in there, the HOA sends me a letter and say, well, we're finding you $100 a day for having a tenant in this property without permission.
Mm.
And so now I got to get legal counsel to fight this HOA. I'm steady racking up these fees. And now my tenant's steady being harassed because they're not supposed to be there. And so much happened with that. But the amazing part about it, because I had a community like this, I was properly connected and educated where, yes, I paid $10,000 for this property. And what? Today I got a check for $100,000 for this property because I had community around me to help protect me and guide me through issues like this. So
Woo! Woo! Say it again for the people in the back. Cloudy, a check today.
community is certified.
Yes, listen, community. It is
Yes, yes.
the beautiful thing about it. If I don't have the answer, Stacy has the answer. If Stacy don't have the answer, Monet got the answer. Monet don't have the answer, Tina got the answer. If Tina don't have the answer, like that's what you gotta have. I
Right.
don't even know how a person feels like they're going to be a successful anything without the right team. And all
Absolutely.
teams are not created equal. You got to get with people that you really can trust. That's not going to just give you the fluff. Yes, I want everybody to be a real estate investor, but I'll be the first one to tell you, you have to get tough skin
Mhm.
and realistic expectations, and then be willing to say as a mentor, I don't know everything, but I'm connected to an amazing group of people that if this person doesn't have the answer, that person is going to have the answer. And that, I think, is what is extremely, extremely, extremely important. And so, Monet, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I do think it's important, though, to get into real estate, because I think that that's where the real wealth, when you
Yep.
look at billionaires, you look at people that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, all of them mainly have real estate in their portfolio because people are always going to need a place to stay.
Mhm.
And right now we have rent going up like crazy, $100 to $500 without real warning. And it's going to continue to go up because the developers start building like that in 2007, 2008. So now's the time to really get serious about being a landlord. Rent is going to continue to go up. I mean, ladies, what are you kind of seeing? Stacey, what are you saying? Do you have any friends who are still renting and complaining about their rent fees, or have you seen anything like that?
Yeah, my own sister, she's living up north, is spending upwards of over 2,000 for a 2-bedroom on rent. So I've been really working with her closely, looking at when her lease ends so we can position her to be able to own her own home in the next 6 months. Um, to me, that's crazy. You're not gaining anything. All you're doing is, benefiting that landlord. So, a Certify is about ensuring that you position yourself to be the landlord, right? To be in a position where you can create an extra, path of income to create wealth. And I would encourage anybody, anybody outside of even being an entrepreneur or a business owner, even if you have a 9 to 5, like this is an industry that's open to anybody to enter, right? And I used to be in corporate myself, and again, I sit back at times and I wish that I had started on this journey earlier, right? But I'm definitely dedicated now, but I feel like that I had a window of opportunity where I could have been, even myself, I could have been further along. So I encourage anybody. This real estate is definitely one of those things that anyone can get into. So don't sit on the sidelines. Don't wonder. Don't think because I have a 9 to 5, I won't have time. I won't have the ability to really, like, all of those are excuses because there's so many people out here killing it, doing a 9 to 5 and creating more wealth than their own job is producing, right?
Yeah.
And you can do it too.
Yeah, no, that's really, really good. I mean, I'm like you, I cringe. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to get everybody that wants to, that has a desire to, we got to make sure. And then in some cases, like we give you strategies. So it says you're renting right now. We'll give you a strategy and say, opposed to buying that single door, go ahead and get a duplex. Go ahead and get a 3-door. Go ahead and get a 4-door. You move in one and then you rent out the other 3. So now your mortgage is taken care of. There's so many creative financing opportunities out here. You just got to get in a community where you're going to get the support and learn. Jackie Green said the rent is starting at $3,800 and up in New Jersey. Yeah, that's just, it's ridiculous. And the thing about it, it's going to keep going up, Monet. What are you seeing with rent and renters? I mean, my heart is really going out for them right now.
Oh, it's literally unreal. Like the horror stories that I hear from a lot of my tax clients, like literally they're coming in now trying to get cash advance because, you know, they're behind on their rent and their rent has been increased and things like that. And that's another reason why you want to be a part of a community, because I sit down and I talk to them and say, well, let's stop renting, start owning, become your own landlord. Because I remember years ago when I was going through, you know, my hardship, that I literally was able to stay in my house 5 years without paying a mortgage because I own a property, you know, and I understood how to stop foreclosure and different things like that. But think about it. If you're renting and you stand in somebody's property, you can't stay there 5 days. You know, they go to court and they can immediately evict you. But if you put yourself in position and find out how to become the landlord and own that property, then you have more rights than a tenant. You know, a deed is way better than a lease to me.
Listen, way better, right? Way better. The thing about
Right.
it, you get a mortgage, you pretty much know what you're paying unless you get adjustable rate, which I don't recommend unless you're doing a buy and flip. But if you're living there, you need to get a fixed rate. But you pretty much know if your mortgage is going to be $3,500 a month, this is going to be $3,500. But if you're renting in that same place, it might start at $3,500, and 5 years later, 10 years later, that thing could be $4,500, $5,000. And so now, and there's no ownership. And so we really do, I really want those that are listening that, you know what I mean? You got a witness in your spirit, like, listen, let me join this community. Let me get myself positioned to get into the buy and flip game. And let me say this too. You don't have to just feel like I'm going to do one door for the year. I don't know why we thought that we have to build slow. You don't have to build slow. Once you get your credit together, then we can get you the funding, right? And then you can just keep buying and flipping. And we're going to give you the strategy and walk you through that process. I closed on my apartment building July and then turned around and closed on my buy and flip, I think like September, right? So you got to keep going. I'm about to sell that and about to do another buy and flip. And now I'm about to look at some more doors. So you don't have to like do this slow thing. You can get into the community with people because success loves speed. I always tell people, I love get rich strategies because they're real and they're true. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to happen overnight, but I am saying it doesn't have to be slow. You can literally have no doors right now and have 20 doors within 6 months. Honest to God. It's all about revelation. It's all about strategies, and it's all about relationships. So what would be the last thing that you all would tell people before we get ready to wrap tonight? Stacey, why should they take action right now and not keep pushing that thing off? And you kind of mentioned that, how you had a girlfriend who just been procrastinating. Now she hadn't even done anything at all. I think, you know, the people that you run with, you tend to run with the people that you're in pace with, right? So if you're running with people that are slow, you're probably going to be a slow mover. But if you get to a point where you're running with people that are movers and shakers, you're going to find yourself finally starting to really move and shake.
Yeah, that's good. I think that the one thing that I would say that I think I see on a consistent basis is just people kind of watching to see how things are going for other people before making a decision. And so what I would say is just stop sitting on the sidelines and get in the game, because the one thing that we can't get back is time, right? And so that's what I'm realizing. Like I've gotten to a certain point in my life where I'm like, I've lost a whole lot of time that I can't never get back. And one thing that we don't want to, be at a point where we're looking back over our lives and thinking to ourselves, I wish, or I coulda, or, I didn't take the opportunities to make certain moves because I was afraid. So stop staying on the sidelines and watching other people, get in position and doing these things that you yourself would like to do. Go ahead and jump in and, join our community, because, things are rapidly changing every day. When you turn around, you're seeing so many things that are happening in the real estate space and the finance space. And, there comes a time where you just have to say, you know what? If I'm not the person that's going to take it upon myself to make a change to my circumstances, then who else will, right? And real estate is those things that, it's a solid investment, right? When you
It's so solid. It's so solid. It's
yeah,
so solid, Stacey. And what I'm so excited about is with every door, we actually just got last week a really great Section 8 plug, V8 plug. And I mean, this girl just walked through one of my apartment buildings and she's like already called me today. Well, she called me with somebody the other day. They didn't work out. She called me today and she told me she did a walkthrough. She said, this is a perfect unit. I love it. She told me what to do. She said, put some mud on the top of this pole. Not me, but I'll have my handyman do it. Property manager have him do that. And then add a fire. I got to add the fire thing in the hallway when you first walk into the apartment. But it felt so good. She's like, I just got your voucher approved for this one particular unit. And the rent is $1,000 for this particular unit. She said, but I was able to run some numbers and Section 8 just approved. And so opposed to your security deposit being $1,000, I'm getting your security deposit at $1,500. Listen, you cannot tell me the relationship don't matter. I mean, and I just met this girl through somebody else 2 weeks ago. Then I had another phone call with someone else. And see, you guys don't have access to this. I got another girl that's VA. They're looking for housing for VA. They just closed a homeless shelter in the city. And so she said, if you can have these units for VA, I will keep them full. And that's not just for me, that's for anybody in the community. So you don't have to worry about whether you're doing a buy and flip or buy and hold. We're going to help you with the contractors or we can help you with the tenant. So Monet, what would you tell somebody watching why they need to connect? Because first of all, when they connect, they're going to have access to you. That's first of all, okay?
Right. And it's tax season. I'm just excited to be a part of a community. Like, people don't understand the value of it. And I'll say this, I definitely want to talk about equity. Like, I've experienced some financial good points, but equity was a whole nother game changer. To be able to be educated on real estate and purchase something at a certain price and watch the value of it go up and be able to pull hundreds of $1,000s out of it, like, that's a game changer. And you'll never experience nothing like that until you be involved with a community like that teaches you how to purchase property at a certain amount and watch it grow in value and things like that. So yeah, I would just tell people to just get connected. That's all I'm gonna say.
Get connected. Listen, I bought a house in 2017 for $15,000. I put $10,000 rehab, and today that thing is worth $175,000.
Wow,
equity. That's the power of real estate. So now I have access. I could pull that money out, go and buy some more doors or whatever. There's all kinds of creativity that happens. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for jumping on here today. Comment doors for those of you that are ready to connect to this amazing, phenomenal community with just a bunch of brilliant minds that are so sharp and always learning. Monet and Stacey, I love you ladies, and excited for us to continue to grow and make impact, change our own lives as we change other people's lives. So love y'all. Have a good night. Don't forget, comment doors if you're ready. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.